Trying to get lighting set up. Get something here. I gotta wipe this off. I'm trying to get lighting set up so I can see, but it doesn't blind you guys. We may have to set the thing up for above. I may do that for you guys so you guys can see better what I'm doing. Pardon? Is that better? I can't tell if that's better. I have my studio lights off to the side, so you're getting some lens flare from that. So who's here? I don't even know who's here. I gotta plug this phone in real quick. Or we will absolutely not make it through this. So let me grab, where'd I put it? I have it. Just had it. I literally just had the knife that we're going to sharpen. Now I don't know where I was cleaning up. I did some filming. Who cares? Welcome, buddy. Here it is. So, well, it's not quite afternoon here. So this is a beg astio that someone completely screwed up, and I'm going to try and sharpen it. Now, I already told the customer I cannot re-establish the secondary point. So if you've ever seen a beg astio, I'm not on my computer, so I can't share a screen. They are a, well, they're a recurved tonto, a lot like the Norseman. So it would come up and it would have a secondary point and then it sweeps up. They have a longer sweep to their forward edge than these, but someone put this, let's see here. I'm still setting up, so I'll get it turned around. I think I'm going to try and do it from above and get you guys turned around in the gooseneck. I'll try that. Why is the lights flickering? Why are my lights flickering? My lights are absolutely flickering, and I don't know why. This one especially. I don't know what's going on. I hate to think that my lights are going bad. I just recently got them. That seemed to fix it. Might have been a loose connection at the connect. So I'm getting my mat and everything. I just literally finished filming, so I wanted to let you guys know what we were doing. It's going to be a, man, there are knives everywhere here. It's going to be a long, drawn-out process, and I'm probably going to have to get a hold of the customer and let him know. There's probably going to be some additional on this because I'm looking at how blunted the tip on this is. I'm seeing some marks on this where it looks like somebody had this clamped into something real hard. But I'm gonna get everything set up and then start sharpening. I will tell you guys, if you can get some of this matte material, like the stuff that you put in cupboards and drawers for on your workbench, it makes it so much easier. It keeps the mess not out of the way. But it keeps it out of the way. It doesn't minimize the mess. You still have to clean up a lot. Like I use a piece of glass on top of my wood workbench here. But what it does is it lets the gunk all kind of like drop through all the holes. And so you're not getting so much of it all over you all the time. So let's see. What do I want to have out here? Well, let me get the gooseneck set up. That way you guys are going to be able to see better. And I can have more light. So, Snuzz, where have you been? Snuzz, one of my previous paying members, is still one of the moderators. I haven't seen you in a while, Snuzz. What's going on? How you been? Let's see here. Get this gooseneck set up. Trying to get this set up so that you guys have the most optimal view, but are out of my way. What's up, Ned? Let's see here. I'm gonna get everything set up. I'm gonna get my stones over here. I'm actually gonna put that up a little bit higher. So I might not be able to see you guys' chats. I don't know yet. We'll see. But I'm trying to get this gooseneck tightened onto the shelf over here. There we go. So who all is here? What have I missed? Let me look at the chat log here. Live chat, all chat. Ned's here, Native Wild Man. Been working for a living. I work a lot, been tired. Yeah, I want to go back to work. I want to go back. What was that? Isabel, is that you? Oh, okay.
What?
Didn't know what I heard. I just wondered if that was you.
I'm making lunch.
Oh, you're making your lunch? Okay, I'm doing a live feed. Whenever I have a chance to catch, I never have a chance to catch the evening shows. Who's Seraphin? I was not being woke. I was strictly saying that I believe that the gentleman's carry thing is going to be a thing of the past because women carry knives too. As a matter of fact, there are so many more women knives. That wasn't a woke thing. That was just a thing that, I still referred to them as gentleman's carries in the video that I already shot, that I said I was going to do, but I definitely said they're office-friendly carries because most offices, at any rate, you guys know what I mean. Let's turn this around. Let me see. Is this camera clean? How does this look? How are we on? Oh man, this is horrible. This isn't going to be good or fun or easy. So the problem I have is I can't use my aggressive reprofiling stones. I figured. I can't use my aggressive reprofiling stone. So I'm going to have to do all of this on this 220 grit. All the reprofiling is going to have to be done on this 220 grit half-inch stone, which is going to be nightmarish. So I don't know if I'm actually going to get this done in a live feed. So basically this is where we're at. I'm just going to have to follow the screw up on this. Now, like I said, this has been done on some sort of a fixtured system. I can tell by the fact that the tip is really rounded. I can tell by the fact that there is no secondary point. Somebody just rounded this entire thing over. So I can tell you already that this is going to be very, very time consuming. And I'm likely going to cut myself at least once, but there just really is not, for me, any other good way to do this. So I'm just going to try and see where we're at on this. I have not even, man, this edge is so rounded and burnished, and it just feels like somebody did it on a buffing wheel. There is no tooth to it. There is no edge to it. There's nothing. So we're going to have to really establish a new edge all on these fine stones. Man, it's so bad, guys. Look at how rounded, that tip is. You guys see how rounded? God damn it. Sorry, guys. Can you see how rounded that tip is? That's the results of an improper use of a fixtured system. I hate the fixtured systems. Oh, I'm a professional sharpener. I got a this or I got a that. And I got, like, great. Can you do a convex edge? Can you do a compound edge? Can you do multiple angles? Can you do it without rounding the edge over? And like I say, like, guys, you can have a system and have it not do any of those things if you don't know how to use it. I gotta get my reading glasses. I cannot see what I'm doing. Hang on just a moment. I gotta figure out where I put my readers. One, I can't see you guys' comments very well to begin with. So let me move you over like this a little bit. What was that? Probably a wicked edge. Yeah. So can you guys see how rounded that tip is? This is going to take me a lot of time. Nice thing is, I don't think this is a super hard steel. I can't remember what these field grades were made in. I would imagine S35BN or XHP. So neither one of those are like super hard to deal with. I would almost be inclined to tell this. I think I'm gonna contact Mark and Mattia at Beg Knives and see what a reblade would cost for this guy. But we're starting to feel a little bit of that edge alignment, but it's so badly just rounded and like I said, guys, the edge on this feels like somebody did it on a buffing wheel, like just with nothing that is going to leave an abrasive cutting edge, like a serrated edge, because every edge is at the microscopic level serrated. Let's see, how are we getting on this? It is so thick. They took off so much material. The edge is so thick. I don't know, guys. I don't know whether to say it's a lost cause yet or not. Typically, I give about 30 minutes. Yeah, you can see, look at that. Look at that tip. It's so, oh man. It's so rounded. I don't know how they sharpen it. Let me go close this door so my daughter doesn't have to. No, that's okay. I just didn't want you to have to think you had to be quiet. Why is your computer on the kitchen sink, on the kitchen counter where there's so much wet stuff? Okay, just be careful, don't spill anything on it. She is doing school and has her laptop on the counter while she's making lunch. Let's see. Let me turn this light back on. This will help me a little bit. That'll give me a little bit better light. So let's see. If this would actually be easier with the secondary point, because I could just work, I could do the forward point where it's really rounded on one of my flatter stones. I may actually do that. Let's see. Let's see if I can at least fix the edge, and then I can fix the tip and then marry that in. We're just gonna go ahead and give this a little bit of extra love. I typically don't do this, but that tip is so bad that I should be able to marry this in. I don't know if I'm gonna, I'm not gonna try to reestablish that secondary point, but I can do a little bit of work on that and try and just marry that angle in a little bit. I can, but what's gonna happen is I still have to marry those two edges back in. But since this initially was a recurve Tonto, I'm not too concerned about it because there's a weird spot there anyway. So man, that is so bad. Even with that ultra aggressive 140, it's still bad. It's so thick. They blended this edge so badly. I'm gonna have to take off so much material. Wonder, can I? If I'm careful, I should be able to use the very corner of that and bring that in. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just carefully, very, very carefully use the edge of that to take off some of the material so that we can thin that out. It's not gonna be perfect. I'm still gonna have to go back over it with my 1/2-inch stones, but I definitely need to fix this tip. I can't reestablish the secondary because somebody already just screwed that up so badly, but what I can at least do is get that tip somewhat. And it looks like we're getting what I'm aiming. You guys are picking up what I'm putting down. I typically will not use the edge of a stone like this because it is very bad for that area of the stone. But if I go light, and this Atoma seems to wear really well, I should be able to do it without screwing it up too badly. My goodness, guys, look at the tip on that. Like completely round, completely round. Let's get a little bit more water on here. King Pope Caesar. I see a question mark. I don't know what the question mark is. Guys, if you're dropping comments, I can't really can't really see them the way I'm standing, and the fact is I'm paying a lot of attention right now on this. This is not how this was supposed to be done. It's absolutely not how you're supposed to use these stones. I could use this area. I don't use this area of the stone for anything to speak of. I suppose that that would be an area I could use that would not be as hard on it. My God, I got a lot of material to remove off of that. You can fix that shit, but that tip's shot. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix the tip. It's so thick. They took off so much material and blended that edge so badly. It is so thick behind the edge on this. And I mean, these were thick behind the edge to begin with, but somebody spent a lot of time and removed a lot of material to screw this up so badly. No, it's not going to ever be what it was again. And I'm not using any pressure. I'm letting the diamonds do all the work. But as you can see, it's not hitting that spot right there. So in the middle, we're gonna have to do, ooh, there's baking soda in that water. My hands is slippery. I forgot I shouldn't use this one. This is the non-baking soda water for stainless steel. It makes the stones get slippery, and then you definitely run more of a chance of cutting yourself. Can't do it with a glove on, Ruben. Cannot do it with a glove on. The reason I can't do it with a glove on is I don't have the skin contact to the stone, so it screws up the way I sharpen. And the other reason is the stones like to slip around, and it makes it actually a little more dangerous than if I just do it the way I'm used to doing it. I sharpen by feel and sound, Ruben, and if I take the feedback, you can see I'm coming so close that I'm touching. The knife is I'm actually touching the blade as it passes. Sometimes that's hazardous, but I'm paying close attention. I'm not watching a YouTube video or watching a movie or anything while I'm doing it right now, because this does require a good bit of attention. I have a glove, but like I said, what happens is the glove, like I can't get the fine control of the stone with a glove. Let's see. Yeah, you can see I still have a lot of material to remove in here, but that forward edge is finally apexed. I just need to, I'm gonna keep working on that very tip, and then I'll just have to marry that in when I can. So this stone cuts so fast, though, that I think it's not going to take us as long. It's not going to take you guys, it's not going to take me as long as you guys are thinking it will, because I've actually realigned that tip. I wish you would focus. It's still bad though. I mean, you guys, look how blunt that tip is. And you can see where they've had it clamped in to something and just have horribly, horribly screwed up this knife. I cannot tell you guys how much I hate the fact that people will do this and then sell. Juan, what's up, buddy? That's my buddy Juan. Used to work with him when I did construction, landscape construction for Jensen. He's one of the paying. Juan, are you still a paying member? Let me see here. Yeah, Juan's a paying member, has been for a long time. I need to get Juan to come over sometime. We haven't talked for a while. We haven't hung out. Someone really wants my attention. It's the Gilded server. The members are telling each other that I'm doing a live sharpening right now. If you guys want to get in on a membership, you have access to the Gilded server. Juan, I will send you a link to the Gilded server so you can go in and chat with us. Geez, guys, seriously, come on. Yeah, there's still, that's a very, very, very blunted tip on that. Let's see here. Guys, you know what I thought about? I thought about applying for a job with the Postal Service. It's still a federal job. I'd be able to, no, All Coast Construction. I won that shirt at a race. I was at a race and they threw that out into the crowd and I got it. It was a kid that was a quarterback and they're like, throw it. And he turned, instead of throwing it into the crowd, he threw it the direction I was walking up the bleachers and I caught it. And that's where that All Coast Construction shirt. I worked for Jensen Landscape Construction here in San Diego. All Coast is up north towards Marietta, Menifee area. They sponsor a lot of the sprint car races. And drivers. So let's see here. Let's see. I think that's about as good as we're going to be able to rectify that tip. Let me do this side a little bit. And then we're going to have to work on marrying this area that I worked on back into the edge that I was working on. Yeah, that's about as good as I'm going to get that. I'm sorry. That's about as good as I'm going to get that tip. It doesn't have any obvious flat spots really to speak of, except at the very, very front. We do a lot of planting and irrigation and stuff like that. What's up, clown? Yeah, that's about as good as we're going to. So we're going to switch back to these. Let me make sure I got as much of that baking soda off of my hands as possible. Rubbing alcohol works really good for that. Cleans everything off. This is why I use that sorry, guys, I forgot what I was saying. I got to looking at that. So let's go ahead and we'll try and marry this in as much as possible. Guys, if I'm not looking at your chats, I apologize. I'll look at them in a second. I just saw that Dave had said something a minute ago. I'll go back and look at the chats when I get tired of looking at this for a minute. This is nerve-wracking to do these and have to completely do so much work because someone else definitely screwed this up. Now, like I said in the title, I can't restore this. But I can at least get it to where it's sharp. Let me go back through this. Let me see here. So, Mock Clown, I got a new knife today, but the Ulti-Clip screws are too short. I need to go to the hardware store and find larger ones. Are you using that Ulti-Clip, the one that I have? I'm going to try and do a video about that. I have one that the guy made for the sea snake. He sent it. Somebody dropped a turd on that edge. Yeah. There's a really bad low spot that I have to overcome here. But it's the steel. The nice thing is the steel is cutting really well. So there's a low spot right here that I gotta try and marry this in and thin this angle. Yeah, this came from a customer. He bought it like this. He was like, I don't think he realized it was that bad. The guy completely screwed up the secondary point. It's I'm not gonna lie, it's horrendous. So he's been touching it up on a ceramic rod, but you can only do so much. So now all that work I did to reestablish the tip, now what I'm having to do is I've got to marry that in, because my edge is not up to and touching. As you can see, I'm trying to thin that out and take out some material so that it will actually cut. Whoever sharpened this did such a blunt angle on it to begin with, and they're thick knives anyway behind the edge. They did this gentleman no favors with what they've done to this knife. So basically what I'm doing is a full reprofile up to what I miss? I just got a sea snake. I really like it. I'm glad. Add a recurve to the edge. No, the sea snake will never have a tonto. You know why? I typically do not like tontos. I like this kind of a tonto or a traditional tonto. I love the tonto, recurve tonto of a Norseman. Not a fan of the typical, really popular American style tonto. It's just not something that, I know a lot of people love them. They have their place. They are really good for certain things, but for my day-to-day use, well, this was a recurve. Okay, I got to put this down for a second. Anyway, holy crap. So it was a recurve tonto, like this, similar to this, but someone took the secondary point all the way off of it. So what I'm doing now is just whatever I can do to sharpen it. So there was a secondary point right here that swept back into the recurve. So this would be called a recurve tonto, but like I said, it's been so badly fucked by someone who really should never have done this and then sold to someone. So the customer I've talked to him, he seems like a really nice guy. He's like, yeah, I didn't figure that you'd be able to completely repair it. He's like, if you just can get it sharp. But it's going to be a little extra. I told him there's probably going to be some extra due on it because it's pretty bad. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just reestablishing some sort of an edge because it was so badly blunted and burnished and just was not sharp. There was no real edge to it, anything to speak of. There, you can see there's a low spot there that still has factory edge. If I was to zoom in, they did not get that area. That's why it's so hard. They didn't get that area when they sharpened it the first time. See that? That's still factory edge. So I got to do that. I bet it's the same way on this side. Actually, I may have, no, there's still factory edge. Oh, sorry, you guys can't see. There's still some factory edge on it. They never truly apexed this. They just blunted it to the point where it's not even close to being sharp. So, well, let's get back to it. Zoom you guys back out. Let me see, can I bring you guys up further? That might make it easier for you all to see what I'm doing. It's definitely gonna make it easier on me. Yeah, that's better. Now, the problem is I'm not gonna really be able to see you guys' chats. I'll go back through them every few minutes or so. So I'm gonna have to take a good bit of material off. And what I'm doing is I'm marrying these edges. So I remember what angle I did this at, and I'm just carrying it back into this. So I'm thinning the edge. I'm completely reprofiling this because it was so incredibly blunted and poorly sharpened. I don't know how the owner actually used it. Let's see. It's not quite perfect yet. Let's see, let's get in on this side. So the nice thing about freehand sharpening is I can definitely work specific areas of the knife differently. Like I'm working solely in here and then bring that angle and then lightly just marry those in. So I did the forward edge first, and I'm just marrying those angles in across where there should be a point. Let's see where we at. Like I said, whatever steel this is in, I didn't look it up, whatever steel it's in is cutting relatively well. So we're kind of there, I think, on the reprofiling. We're gonna look and see how it looks and feels at the 400 grit. Because sometimes when you're doing it, so guys, I'll tell you right now, when you go up in grit, so like Nisa and I have both said it a bunch of times, this is your most important stone, your coarse stone. Whatever stone is your coarsest. In this case, it's a 220 grit because I don't have anything coarser in a 1/2 inch stone. So, but whatever stone you're using as your coarse stone is the most important. It's the one that's going to do all of the work. Neves have said it, I've said it a bunch of times. That's why I bought this. This works really well. Unfortunately, it doesn't work well for something like this because as you guys can see, that does not even touch. So I can't sharpen it like a typical knife. I have to use these. They just don't have the cutting horsepower, so it just takes longer. You have to be a little bit more patient, and unfortunately, it's going to cost more because there's a lot more time involved in that. But what I was saying is, when you go from your coarse stone to a next stone, especially if you're jumping grit, like I'm jumping from 220 grit to 400 grit. So I'm jumping 180 grit in this. And so you're gonna find areas that you can't see because the scratch pattern that you've got from this stone is gonna be pretty similar. I see something I need to work on. It's going to be pretty similar to the grit you're seeing from the factory grit. And so you run into that where you don't see that you missed an area. I still need, no, see, I can see it now. I did miss an area. There's still more that needs to be removed on this. So you won't necessarily see that you missed an area until you go up to a higher grit because the scratch pattern is so much finer at that higher grit that you're more apt to be able to pick out the coarse grit area that you missed. Now, if you have a lot of light like I do right now, because I got 4 lights on me right now, it's actually kind of warm. I got my studio lights on and everything, and it's generating some heat. Plus, it's about 80 degrees today in San Diego. But having all that light is going to let me pick out areas I might have missed. So now it looks like I have formed a burr fully through all the way through. So now we're going to switch to the 400 grit, and we might be able to see areas that we missed on the 220 because, like I said, scratch pattern's finer. So let's go ahead and start this way. And so I'll work on an area like this, and then I'll do a sweeping pull where I'm hitting the entire edge just to get rid of any little, it's just for aesthetics. You'll have little areas where you can see that the scratch pattern is hiccuped because you do those short little strokes in specific areas. So let's see here. This steel is cutting really, really well, even on these stones that are not quite as aggressive. Sorry, I'm trying to concentrate, guys. I'm not ignoring you. Cole told me I'm a witch for being able to do knives this way, holding the stone in my hand like that. So it feels as though we've relatively uniformly established that edge and burr. Let's do a couple more passes on this side. just to make sure we have not missed any little areas. Feels pretty good. We're gonna give it a few more passes on each side just to make sure we've removed all that nasty coarse scratch pattern. And then we'll be about ready to move up to 600 grit. And I am doing a convex on this, so I'm changing my angles to try and remove all those shoulders that you might see and have it be one good convex, because on something like this, a nice convex is going to cut well because it's a thicker blade. So laying that angle back ever so slightly and then doing a convex on it should help the overall cutting ability of this knife. Let's see here. I got to work on the front edge. There's still some heavy scratches in there. Not that they're really affecting where they're at, but that bevel is so much wider that I want it to look as aesthetically pleasing as possible from side to side. We did do a lot of heavy work on that very forward edge. And we're at a point now where I can kinda, even if I didn't get all the scratch pattern from the 140 out with the 220, I can still, this stone still cuts well enough that we can get some of that out. So, like I said, these stones don't cut anywhere near as well as a larger stone because you don't have as much surface area. Nowhere near the surface area on these stones that you're gonna get on a larger 1/2-inch stone. So, you know, you're gonna have some issues with getting it to cut the way you want. You know what I mean? You've cut the amount of abrasive you have available in half, because these are 1/2-inch stone. My regular stones are 1 inch that I use for a lot of the sharpening that you guys see. For some stuff I do use larger stones, but you know. Okay, I think we're about ready to move up to 600. Yeah, they really did it. Like, there's a low spot here that I'm just never gonna be able to get rid of. "26 people, 23 likes. I can see that. That's kind of cool. Like, I know it's midday, so that's not a bad showing of people for one of my midday lives. I know it's like 3 p.m. on the East Coast, so a lot of guys can join in. I kind of waited till noon anyway. I filmed a couple videos, and well, I filmed a video and did a couple things. And I still have to finish our taxes. I'm dreading it. I don't know how much I'm gonna owe, but it's gonna be a lot. We sold the house last year, and I'm gonna eat a lot of that. So I don't know. We're gonna see how the edge looks off the 600 might be where we stop, but it feels as though it's getting relatively sharp. This 600 stone cuts really well. I don't know if you guys can see how much black slurry is actually building up. That's material coming off the knife. The Edge Pro stones, while I don't, or not Edge Pro, the Edge Pro stones, while I don't like the fixture systems, their stones are some of the best quality aluminum oxide stones out there. I really, really have to say they cut clean. Not just that they're high quality, they're always consistent. Like, you're always going to get the same. I've ordered stones before, and I'm like, oh, I really like that stone, and I order the same stone from from the same manufacturer and just have it not be the same I had a sharp pebble that I like, the one that I have that you guys have seen me use. I had another one I ordered that was a little bit finer, and I wound up giving it away to a friend because I'm like, it just doesn't do what I was expecting when you compare it to the other stone that I have, that white and gray one. Okay, now we're gonna do our little full edge strokes to marry that in. Let's toss that in the water. It's getting a little dry. So there, we pretty much have reestablished a decent edge on this knife. Now, it's not ready for a paper cut test or anything like that. I got a little bit of a burr that I need to address at the very front. We'll go back and forth a couple times. A lot of that's because that tip is so incredibly blunt. I can't really change that so much without, you're limited. What work I can do and change the angle on some stuff, I'm limited because I don't have the horsepower to reprofile the entire thing the same way. So we're just kind of putting a Band-Aid on this. We've reestablished the tip on it-ish. We've reestablished a good edge. Let's go ahead and give it a quick strop and let's see how it cuts. Give it a good strop. We'll get our recurve strop out. And before you guys ask, and a lot of people ask, I don't know what brand this is. This is buffing compound. This is buffing compound that you would use on a buffing wheel. I buy it because it's a little bit harder. It lasts a little bit longer. It doesn't have a tendency to come off of the strop as badly. Let's see it up here. Just give it a quick strop to see where we're at, just to make sure that there's any little remnants of burr has been removed. Let's go ahead and get a piece of paper and test that. So we've now got it good and sharp. She's good and sharp. I'm probably gonna go ahead and go to the 1000 grit. Let's see. Let me get in here and look at some of the comments. I haven't looked at the comments in a while. The only knife what I sent you with the factory edge is the Hogue. It's a weirdo. Urban Livings, 4 years of living in San Diego. I hated how even the hottest of days in the summer, the pools were still cold. That's because it doesn't, like, it'll be 80, 90 degrees. I'm going through comments. Hey, yo. Crazy sharpest you ever gotten a knife? Customers or one you own? Michael Morgan, I'd have to say the crazy sharpest knife I've ever gotten is my Norseman, but it's the same as what everybody else's Norsemans would leave my house with. Okay, Nico left, and now we're going to go back down to the bottom. Aiden's here. Alan Graywolf. What's up, Alan? So, yeah, I am going to go to 1000 grit on this. Like I said, we've reestablished a good clean edge on it. It's cutting fairly well. That was my fault. I twisted the knife as I was cutting. So I will go ahead and take it to 1000 grit and then strop it, and then we'll be done with this one. And I'll turn this around and we'll talk for a little bit if you guys want. Because mainly, oh, okay, I got something I have to do real quick. Where is that? There it is. The edge of this stone is chipped, and it's going to screw up anything I've gotten done. I don't know how it got chipped, but I could feel it the second I started cutting. I don't want to use that. Where is? There it is. That's what I'll use. I'll use this. Little tip, if you feel that the corners of your stone are chipped, any of those chips, they're gonna scratch your edge as you're sharpening. I don't think I did any damage to the edge, but yeah, there we go. That feels way better. So as you can see, this is another stone that cuts really, really, really well. It's already leaving a lot of black residue. I think that this is probably S35VN on this blade, or XHP, like they said. The owner said he thought it was XHP. I did not look it up. Yeah, this is cutting really well. I think this is gonna leave us a nice clean, sharp, polished-ish edge after the strop. Not feeling any hiccups in the edge as I'm running it up and down the stone. That's one of the things you can feel for. If you feel a spot that just doesn't feel the same, like it just feels gritty, take a good look at it. You probably have missed an area of the scratch pattern, or it's not fully profiled. Sometimes you won't find it until you get way up in the grit, like at 1,000 grit or so, and it kind of sucks if you're not paying attention, because you won't really feel it on your coarser stones, but you definitely will feel it on your larger stones. So if you happen to miss it, there's nothing to do. You can't make it. You can't make the 1,000 grit stone do it. Just will not do it. You can only go back down, because once you hit about 600 grit, you stop sharpening and you've started honing. And 1,000 grit stone just does not have the horsepower to remove anything that you might have missed. 600 might, 400 definitely. I've started on 1,000 grit stones for sharpening straight razors before and been able to do it, but typically I like to just go all the way back down and just finish any of those issues. So there we go. We've got a nice clean edge. I do have a little bit of touch up I need to do at that very front where that edge was so low, just for aesthetics. I'm not actually doing anything. I'm just getting some old scratch pattern out. That you can do that, but like heavy repair you can't do anything with on these small stones. There we go. Nice little pretty cleanup. That will marry out. Let's go ahead and get this thing ready to, ooh, it's slippery. Almost dropped it. Don't drop it. You just finished it, Mike. That's that'd be bad. That'd be fundamentally bad. So just a quick look at the edge. Now we have a nice, clean, consistent edge all the way up to 1,000 grit. There are no hiccups in it. Let's go ahead, do that front part a couple times just to marry in that little area that I was doing some touch up. Just cut myself a little. So, all right, let's go ahead and do this whole thing. Marry this whole thing in. Sorry, I'm not even paying attention to whether you guys can see. Okay, now let's give her a quick cut test. I imagine we're going to be fine with the cut test. This paper got wet. Sorry, the paper got damp. I put it on the... That's pretty good. Let's try it on some newspaper. I got some newspaper laying over here. I think, guys, that we are good. I think, let's go ahead and turn this around, put you guys back in the thing. Oh, shit. There we go. I think we're good on that. There's only so much I can do with that. So, you know, when guys get these knives and then they get these work sharps and things like that, and then they put expensive knives. Like, these were not cheap knives. Even the field grade ones were not cheap. They get these knives in and they're like, oh, well, I've got this, I can sharpen it. I got news for you, you probably shouldn't. There's still a couple things I need to do on this. Like, there's a couple little areas where there's some of the old scratch pattern, and I'm taking care of that right now. But, you know, there's still some stuff that I need to do. I'm just touching up some of those little areas where the old edge was. Now we wait for what? Oh, you ordered. I see, you ordered something. So, you know, there's there's only so much you can do with something that someone has damaged beyond repair. Like I said, I would love to have turned that back into the recurve Tonto that it was. It's a very striking looking knife that way. Unfortunately, when somebody, where did I cut myself? On my thumb, just a little bit on the very tip of my thumb. So there you go. Now we have taken a knife that by all rights should have had a blade, a new blade. And we've reprofiled it. We've dropped the angle back down on this where it was supposed to be instead of being so blunt. You know, we've widened that bevel out. We've thinned that out a little bit. We've cleaned that up. And is it perfect? No, it's still really thick at the tip. There's still some hiccups and stuff you can see from the sharpening they did. The person that he bought it from, I should say. This is not the customer that did this. The customer reached out to me and said, hey, I bought this knife. And knock, knock, knock. What? What's this? Who's there? I'm waiting, mock clown. Who's there? So, actually, this he may be happy with this. You know, in use, this is probably going to be very useful. One of the downsides. Hey, what's up? What's up, Brant? Open the door and find. I don't know if I like that, but I have a device here that always sits next to the bench that I have my bang stick. So if you happen to be at my door, and open the door and find out. Better not be anyone at my door, clown. Hello, but my daughter left the front door open when she went for a run again. There's no one at my door. Knock, knock. Open the door and find out. So, yeah, I mean, that's going to be in all honesty, one of the downsides to the recurve Tontos, or any Tonto, to tell you the truth, that secondary point gets a lot more wear than the rest of the knife. So you wind up with a lot of times you'll wind up with a little flat or dull spot on that very point of that secondary tip. So this one, I don't have as much problem with it. This gets used a lot, and I haven't had that problem. But I also don't put it down and cut. If you're cutting on a countertop or a desk or something like that, a lot of times your very point here, that secondary point, will get dull. But I typically don't do that. I have other knives that are much better at that. Like, put my Norseman in my waistband. Like this knife. This is much better at that than my Norseman. What's up, Murky, Murky, Murky? Or something like this would be better at that than using the secondary point on a Tonto. Would you take that to, I don't know where that is. I don't know what flag that is. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. If you're talking about the place where there's a lot of stuff going on, I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I was trying not to say it. I avoid all that political stuff. So somebody completely rounded the secondary point off of this snuzz. It's completely gone. But what I've done is I have reestablished a new edge. So we are very clearly back to a state of sharpness that the customer is going to be able to use. It was so dull when it came in, it wouldn't cut anything. I had to put a new tip on it. I can't reestablish that secondary point like you're supposed to, like I wanted to. So guys, it's been an hour. I do have other things I have to do. I have a lot of editing and I have to do our taxes. So I'm gonna cut this. If you guys haven't dropped a like, I would appreciate it. Go find the video that I put up this morning and Go find the video that I put up this morning and watch it. It's a prototype for one of Chris over at Cerberus Knives. It's a prototype for his new knife. And check out the merch store. Guys, I'm wearing this on purpose. Check out the merch store. There's links to it in the description of all my videos. The shirts are great. There's other people's logos and stuff on there. The coupon code I have set up works everywhere. So that way, you know, that way I'm making merchandise money and you guys are getting merchandise. And if you send me pictures, I'll put them in a video like I always say. So going to bed now. Take care. Hit the like button. Yeah, click the like on your way out. This much, much better. It's like I said, now it is a functional knife, not just a screwed up chunk of metal. Let's give it one more. Yeah, that's, I mean, compared to what it was, you guys saw how bad it was. The tip was completely gone. It now has a tip. Much, much better. Much, much better. I'm going to get a hold of the customer and let him know it's done. There is going to be a little extra. I did have to do a bunch of extra work. Typically, I can get a knife done 15, 20, 30 minutes. I don't charge extra, but, you know, an hour, I'm going to have to charge probably about an extra $5, $10. So I try not to overcharge too much when I do have to upcharge. But now I'm not charging anything extra on for going up in grit. So everything all the way up to 12,000 grit is still the same price. So, but yeah, guys, that's it. I'm out of here. I got other stuff to do. So I just thought I'd take you along for the morning. Well, for my lunchtime sharpening, I had already done a bunch of other stuff. I've got more sharpening to do, but I'm not going to do it live. Makes it much more difficult to have that gooseneck in the way. So guys, love you. See you in the next one. Go to the merch store, buy stuff, become a member, get into that server, the chat server. So I'll talk to you later.